She's the one, definitely, yeah. As I say, I had a couple other girlfriends, and quite steady with a couple of them. But she was just different. She was a woman. The others were girls, because I was only, well, I mean, when we met, I was in mid-20s. And the others, she just was the first sort of one that struck me as a woman. I don't know why, you know. I mean, the others were great, by the way, you know. She was very kind. She's a very kind person, so she's very sensitive and very deep. I just went for her in a big way, you know. Just, you know, that was it. We've never looked back 4 kids later.
So what's it feel like to be married at last?
It feels fine, thank you.
What are you going to do now? Is it going to change your life much, do you think?
I don't know really, I've never been married before.
Well done, thank you. Thank you. Linda has always loved horses, and she's been a great rider for a long time, so she taught me to ride about 20 years ago. So we love horse riding. We don't kind of gallop around everywhere, we pretty much sort of walk around, you know. It's very gentle and very... I love the countryside. I have hobbies like I like making paths through woods.
How do you do that then?
You just get a chainsaw, you get your hat on, get a big pair of gloves. I love it. It's very therapeutic to me. It was very emotional, yeah, because after all those years of missing John, and you know, when something like that happens, you kind of put your emotions to one side. You have to get on with life, you know. But of course, it surfaced again when Yoko gave us the track, and I loved Free as a Bird. I just thought, oh, I really would have loved to have worked on that with the Beatles. So the idea came up because of the anthology. So I heard it, and I was very emotional. I thought, wow, you know, yeah, the boy, Johnny, you know, and of course I loved him, you know. And I spoke to Ringo on the phone, and I said, listen, you better keep your hanky handy, you know, with this one, because it's pretty emotional when you hear it, you know. But he was lovely. He rang back. He said, oh, I think, you know, we could do this. It could be quite a joyous occasion, he said, lapsing into medieval English. But that was what we did. We just had fun. So I'd always had in mind going in a big city like New York and sort of wandering around, oh, I can see the world tonight, you know, or LA or Tokyo, you know, those big glamorous cities. But we were down here on the south coast, so I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's just go along to Hastings. It's just along the thing here. And that was exactly what we did. We waited till the sun was going down, and he just took a camera, one camera, and then one of the guys who were with us took a little home movie camera. And I just wandered around Hastings in my old overcoat, and I had a ghetto blaster, because that was the only, because we couldn't do sync sound and all the film stuff. I just had a ghetto blaster on my shoulder. And the great thing was, I became the character that people want to ignore. In the street, it's like, oh, you see a fella coming towards you, go, yeah, man, all right, with a big ghetto blaster. You don't look at him, you know, you go, oh, he's that guy, you know. So I became this fella just wandering around, going, I can see the world tonight. It was a big help, because looking back over, particularly the early Beatles stuff, we were in the studio with George Martin and George Harrison, Ringo. I was in the studio with them. And we'd be listening to the old tracks, and you could see how we made them, and you could see how little time we spent on them, and how focused we were, and how turned on we were. And it turned me on again. I thought, wow, you know, we didn't really make a big job of it. They were just good songs, simply done. And so it kind of inspired me. So I thought, with this album, I'd like to make an album of songs where if you go down the track listing in 2 years' time, you think, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that's good. So, you know, try and make them all decent songs, and then go and record them without too much fuss, and enjoy it without too much pressure. Don't get too desperate. So that's been the spirit of it all, you know, and I think that all came from listening to the Beatles stuff. I never really think of it until a question comes up like that, but it is true that if I'm in a not very good mood, a great thing to do is just take a guitar, because you think about it, you sort of hold it to you, you know, a guitar, and it's kind of comforting thing to do. You go off into a little room somewhere, you know, on your own, and tell the guitar your troubles, kind of thing. It's like it's a cheap psychiatrist, really. And it turns around and the guitar sort of sends it back to you. and it comes back as a song somehow. So I think it's a very good thing to do. I'm very lucky to be able to do that. It was really joyous to work on, and we just enjoyed it. George put a great solo on that just finished it off. And it was fantastic for me, having John in the headphones. It was like he was here, because when you're working, he would be in a booth over there, and you're not necessarily looking at him. He's here in the headphones. What I do sometimes, just as a kind of game for myself, is I set myself an arbitrary deadline, just so as I don't go on forever. And it's like, there's nobody else is going to give me a deadline, so I'll give myself one. So on 2 occasions I was acting as Linda's chauffeur when she was going to do some photos for her cookery stuff. And I go to these sessions, and she's having a photo taken and doing the cookery, whatever it was. And I just get off in a little back room and leave her till she's ready for me to drive her home, see. I know my place. So I take my guitar normally. So I just sit around, and on 2 occasions with 2 of the songs, one's called Some Days and the other one is the British single called Young Boy, I just make sure I make up a song in that time, so come on, don't let myself dither. So when I'm wondering what the word should be, I go and pick it out quickly instead of, oh, it could be this,